training camps were the stuff of legend. I mean, he would spar 100 rounds a week sometimes, which is just insane.
Yeah. So who do you like in Canelo versus Crawford?
Well, I'm a giant Crawford fan because I think he's the best switch hitter since Marvin Hagler. I also think he's one of those guys that if you tell him he can't do something, he wants to show you and shock the world.
Joe Rogan recently shared his thoughts on Terence Crawford's intense training camp for the mega showdown with Canelo Alvarez. According to Rogan, what makes Crawford truly dangerous is not just his speed or accuracy, but his elite ability to switch stances seamlessly, a skill set he compares to the very best in boxing history. Rogan pointed out that Crawford's adaptability inside the ring could be the very thing that neutralizes Canelo's brutal power and wealth of experience, even with the clear size disadvantage. Still, Rogan expressed concern, noting that Crawford must be durable enough to take Canelo's heaviest shots. He cautioned that while Crawford's skill is undeniable, the risk of being physically overpowered is a very real threat.
About the fight.
Yes, he's going to fight Canelo.
Oh, man.
I just hope he's big enough. I hope he's big enough to keep that dude off him because Canelo hits so hard, man.
That's one dude that, like, I believe all the shit he be talking.
Crawford?
Yeah.
Oh, he's good.
He don't just be saying shit.
They tried to say that, like, Errol Spence was damaged because of what Crawford did to him because he was damaged from the car accident. I'm like, maybe. Or maybe Crawford would have done that 3 years ago. I think he's that good. He's just so skillful. He's so slick. And when he gets, and he's also the best guy in the sport at switch hitting. He'll go from southpaw to orthodox and be just as good and trip you up. Like you think he's going to start southpaw, he starts orthodox. You prepare for orthodox, he's fighting southpaw. He feels like he's got you timed better orthodox.
Rogan didn't hold back when asked where his loyalty lies in this matchup. On his Joe Rogan Experience podcast with legendary commentator Jim Lampley, he admitted he's firmly rooting for Crawford. When asked who he favors, Rogan immediately replied, Crawford. He later expanded on why, saying, I'm a huge Crawford fan because I genuinely believe he's the best switch hitter since Marvin Hagler. Rogan went further, suggesting that Canelo was beginning to slow down, while Crawford continues to sharpen his craft. He praised Crawford's slick footwork, unmatched adaptability, and strategic brilliance, while still acknowledging the obvious, Canelo's size and power advantage remains a massive hurdle for Crawford to overcome.
The Crawford-Canelo fight.
Beyond interesting. Fascinating.
How does Crawford compete with that size? Crawford is leapfrogging. He goes to super middleweight.
47 to 54 and now to 68.
And the Madrigal fight in 54 is a difficult fight.
Yeah. So who do you like in Canelo versus Crawford?
Well, I'm a giant Crawford fan because I think he's the best switch hitter since Marvin Hagler. I also think he's one of those guys that if you tell him he can't do something, he wants to show you and shock the world.
1000%.
I also think Canelo is slowing down, and Canelo is more of a one-punch fighter now than the combination fighter he was when he was young. He uses strength and conditioning. There's very few fighters that just train using skill, just train skills. Like George St. Pierre did that for a certain period of his career.
I wonder if there's anybody left in boxing who trains just using the gym skills. There were a lot of them when I was first involved in the sport who would never have touched a weight.
Right.
You know, they subscribed totally to the notion that that was negative.
Right. And the worst case, I mean, they definitely did calisthenics, but that was it. It was just body weight exercises, you know, which brings us to Crawford, which I think is really interesting. The Crawford-Canelo fight.
Beyond interesting. Fascinating.
Fascinating. Because how does Crawford compete with that size? And, you know, we have to recognize, okay, well, when Canelo fought Floyd, it was 152 pounds, right? So he had dropped down, which was a struggle for him, which is why Floyd was so brilliant in getting him to go down to 152, because he knew he would be drained.
At the same time, Rogan warned Crawford not to underestimate what he's stepping into. He stressed the danger of the size and power difference, pointing out that a single mistake could be costly against Alvarez. Even so, Rogan admitted he would be glued to the screen, calling it probably the biggest fight in boxing right now. In true Rogan fashion, the discussion even took an unexpected turn, as he linked the fight breakdown with cultural commentary, mentioning cartel mule runners while comparing risks, blending his signature mix of humor, seriousness, and fight analysis.
To a man, to every one of them, they're disciplined. and they stay focused. I'm so excited to see this fight with Canelo Alvarez because I think the Saudi Arabians have so much money. They're throwing so much money at boxing, and the guy who's the head of boxing over there wants to make that fight happen. I think Terence Crawford, forget about the 3 weight classes. I think he could beat Canelo.
Veteran trainer Teddy Atlas sees the potential Canelo versus Crawford clash as a true size versus skill classic. He broke it down by saying Canelo brings raw power, physicality, and even home field advantages, while Crawford may hold the edge in speed, agility, and ring IQ. Atlas compared the matchup to Manny Pacquiao's legendary upset over Oscar de la Hoya, stressing that Crawford's instincts, timing, and slippery style could be the X factors. Despite Canelo's dominance at heavier weight classes, Atlas insisted that Crawford is a once-in-a-generation talent, so versatile and instinctive that he might be able to erase the physical disadvantages and rewrite history.
Practicing it, that was something that when I had the cast on, I was like, man, I love the gym so much. I'm like, man, I'm not leaving the gym. Like, I'm going to practice with this left. And that's when I got the left stronger. Because at first, when I go southpaw, it was only, my right. Then when my hand got messed up, I started working on the left, and it started getting stronger and stronger. And I started getting more accurate, because at first, just throw it just to be throwing it. And then, it just got to a point where my left was actually way stronger than my right.
In camp, Crawford has revealed a dramatic body transformation in preparation for the super middleweight showdown. Having fought at 154 pounds in the past, he has bulked up considerably, reportedly walking around at 185 pounds at one stage, with some earlier footage even showing him close to cruiserweight range. The transformation is impressive. He remains shredded and conditioned despite the extra weight, proving his discipline in training. However, critics remain skeptical. Strength coach Rob Osta warned that such a rapid jump in weight, from 154 to 168 and beyond, could compromise Crawford's greatest strengths, his speed and stamina. Against a powerhouse like Canelo, that could be a dangerous gamble.
Versus Canelo Alvarez at 168 pounds.
Canelo's really good. But I think Crawford is special. I know he hasn't fought the resume everyone wants, but you have that or you don't have that ingredient. I think he has it. Canelo's really good. He's tremendous. But could he be a tiny bit overrated? The greatness is within Crawford. It's in his desire, it's in his mind, it's in his makeup, where he came from. I know he's moving up in weight class, can he carry it? But those intangibles, I believe.
Boxing coach Greg Hackett added his perspective, stating bluntly that a Crawford knockout over Canelo is unrealistic in today's 12-round format. According to him, Canelo is simply too durable and too experienced to go down easily. Hackett argued that Crawford does not possess the freakish punch power required to stop Alvarez, nor is he the type of fighter who would stand toe-to-toe and exchange bombs. Instead, Hackett believes Crawford will rely on technical mastery and smart boxing. He added that only in the old-school 15-round days might Crawford's pace have been enough to wear Canelo down for a possible stoppage. Meanwhile, as the fight approaches, tension is rising outside the ring too. Canelo threw a verbal jab, saying Crawford would soon learn what happens when a good fighter steps up against a great one. Crawford clapped back instantly, reminding everyone of Canelo's loss to Dimitri Bivol, saying, "So that means you're a good fighter and Bivol is a great fighter, right? Every time you stepped up, you lost." A sharp response dripping with confidence and bravado.
Coming in the ring, and Crawford doing everything he can to match Canelo's power, possibly size, and to, at a minimum, try to just maintain what speed he already possesses. Because, when you go up in weight, sometimes you compromise speed. So we know Crawford and his team are doing everything they can to, at a minimum, maintain his speed. But the question came up, okay, since Crawford is looking to come in the ring fast, powerful, we know he's already brilliant. Shit, what if Canelo comes in lighter? I'm like, lighter? Yeah, what happens if Canelo says, you know what, I'm not gonna try to come and just outweigh him by 20 pounds on fight night, because I realize I'm in there with somebody who's very agile and who's probably gonna be faster than me, and although I have timing, he has timing too, so I can't afford to be 2 or 3 steps behind Terence Crawford in my.
Andre Ward, the former 2-division world champion and an undefeated legend, voiced nothing but confidence in Crawford. Ward stated, "I'm not betting against Terence Crawford against anybody right now." He went as far as to say you could bet the house on Crawford because he's proven himself at every stage. While Ward acknowledged the risk of moving up multiple divisions to face someone as dangerous as Canelo, he firmly believes that no one has yet proven they can break Crawford's will. Until someone does, Ward says, you can't bet against him.
How do you feel like he will do going against somebody like a Canelo at 168?
I think Bud, man, one thing I love about Bud, he willing to challenge himself. And when you're willing to challenge yourself, you can surprise yourself. But that's a hell of a feeling. I think, to be honest, you don't want to sit there and brawl with Canelo, but at some point you're gonna have to fight him. You know what I'm saying? You can't let Canelo press you. You know what I'm saying? Because he's great at that, and he a bully. He is a bully. But Bud, I believe, got bully tendencies too. You know what I'm saying? And he could be crafty. But I think if he approached it the way he approached Spence, then we get a way better fight than people think. Now, what I saw when he approached Spence was, I can't make a mistake. I can't let him do too much. I can't let him be a bully. I think if he go at Canelo the same way, then we get a great fight on our hands. Not that, I'm sorry. I'm not saying he's gonna be that dominant, but I'm just saying I think we get a great fight on our hands.
Dimitri Bivol, the WBA light heavyweight champion known for his surgical technique, also praised Crawford with high regard. Bivol, who himself handed Canelo a decisive defeat, called Crawford amazing and insisted that young fighters should study him as the perfect blueprint for learning boxing. Ahead of the fight, Bivol doubled down on his admiration, calling Crawford one of his personal favorites and affirming that despite the weight jump, he has the skill and mindset to beat Canelo Alvarez.
I'm going with Terence Crawford. You know, big weight jump, a dangerous fight, but somebody's got to prove to me that they can break Terence Crawford's will and that he can't figure it out against you. You know, it ain't no disrespect toward Canelo, but I've said this the last couple of years, I'm not betting against.
Boxing Hall of Famer Bernard Hopkins weighed in, reflecting on Crawford's destruction of Errol Spence Jr. Hopkins claimed that Crawford didn't just beat Spence, he shortened his career. According to Hopkins, the one-sided punishment effectively took 4 fights off Spence's future, meaning the physical and mental damage from that night would linger permanently. It highlighted Crawford's ability to not only win but fundamentally change his opponents, leaving lasting scars well beyond the final bell.
Couple of questions. Crawford, Spence. I know you watched the fight and you spoke about Crawford. How good is Crawford?
Crawford is amazing, not just good. He's amazing, and
he said the same thing about you.
Thank you, Terence. But I think he should be in the book for how to learn boxing. You know.
Really.
He's a very good fighter. Yeah, I like to watch his fights.
Pound for pound, number 1.
Yeah, probably he is now because he is undisputed champion in 2 weight classes.
It's crazy.
He's a great fighter. Yeah. To be honest, I didn't see, I think, Crawford in real life. I don't know how big he is. But the size, you know, when I came to boxing gym and my coach told me that one of the rules, it's like respect the weight classes, you know. You should respect weight classes. But he has a very good skill. He's one of my favorite fighters.
Former champion Timothy Bradley also threw his support behind Crawford but with caution. Bradley gave him a 30 to 40% chance of beating Canelo, citing Crawford's high-level skills and intelligence in the ring. Still, he worries about Crawford's stubborn nature. Bradley warned that if Crawford decides to trade shots with Canelo instead of sticking to a smart game plan, he risks being caught and stopped by the heavier man.
Believe Crawford, even though fought twice, throughout the year, Crawford,
But look where he beat.
Undisputed.
Look where he beat. Look where he beat. What he did to Spence, and how he did it. That's 3 fights to me. And it took 4 fights out of Spence, right? Yeah, I'm a fighter, so I can tell you when you get punished like that.
Yeah, I was there ringside watching the fight.
It takes a few years out of you. Don't see the years right now, but it sort of takes something out
of that person going forward. They still can beat some fights, but it really put a bruise on. You didn't see Spence fight yet, did you? No. Did you hear him name opponent for him to potentially fight? It's been quiet.
The boxing world has officially erupted after the shocking announcement of Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua. Fans and analysts alike are calling this the most bizarre yet talked about matchup in recent memory. On one side, Jake Paul has built a massive following with headline-grabbing fights, but stepping in with a former two-time heavyweight champion like Joshua is a whole different level. Joshua is known for his size, power, and experience against the very best heavyweights in the world, while Jake is still seen by many as a YouTuber-turned-boxer with a lot to prove. The reactions online have been explosive, some fans calling it a circus, others saying Jake is brave but crazy, and a few actually giving him credit for daring to face such a dangerous opponent. Boxing legends have also chimed in, with some dismissing the fight as a money grab, while others say it could draw massive attention to the sport. Love it or hate it, this matchup has everyone talking. And it might just be the most controversial event in modern boxing.
It don't matter if Canelo is on that. He ain't beat no Terence Crawford. You heard it here first. Plus, I look at the performances of Canelo. I look at his last performances. I mean, they've been all right, you know. It ain't been like, you know, wow, you know, blew me away. So I'm not really worried about all of that. And the same thing goes with Crawford. I know he's with Snack, and I know some news came out this week and all of that, but I personally believe that Snack is clean. I think it's a conflict of interest, the fact that, hey, he knows how to beat the system, quote unquote, Victor Conte, but at the same time, I think Snack, you got products going around the world, this and that. I mean, all these athletes are testing. They're not testing anything or positive by using Snack at all. So I think they're safe. There's no doubt about it. So with that being said, I'm not worried about that as long as they testing.
Trainer Robert Garcia provided an interesting perspective on Canelo's recent performances. He pointed out that Canelo no longer hunts for knockouts like he once did. Instead, Alvarez now fights with efficiency, doing just enough to secure victory. Garcia explained that this is a strategic choice. Canelo still has knockout power, but he prefers not to overexert himself, instead conserving energy and preserving his body for future fights. It shows Alvarez has evolved into a calculated veteran who knows when to push and when to cruise.
He is, but if he beats Canelo, he'll be like my #1 fighter of all time.
You don't think Crawford beats Canelo?
I don't think so. And look, hear me out. I respect Crawford and everything that he's doing, but he just moved up from 147, so I'm just gonna treat him as a 147 pounder. He's jumping up 3 weight classes to fight someone who was like the #1 fighter in all of boxing, you know. The jump would be hard, even if it was just like some top 10,
right, yeah.
You know.
Bud, would you say he's a very smart fighter?
Yes.
Very calculated,
Yes.
right? Don't you think that maybe he sees something that most people aren't seeing?
I think he does, but the thing is he gonna be able to even like to capitalize on it? Because he's a smaller fighter, and look, I think people are thinking at the aspect of, can Crawford do it? Yes, I think he can do it, but can Canelo do it? And I think he has a bigger chance of doing it than Crawford does.
Favors him.
Now, Canelo, he has obviously the size advantage, the strength advantage, intellect. I think Crawford edges him out in IQ. I just think the weight difference is going to be the deciding factor here. I mean, like, when I seen Canelo's check hook against Berlanga, that shit was like this. You know, and Canelo's not slow either. Like, this shit was, I didn't see that coming at all. He just dropped him, and I was just like, damn, he still got it. I just think that Crawford just bit off a little more than he can chew, but if he can chew it and he beats him, which I think he can. I'm not saying he can't. I'm not saying he has 0% chance. I'm just thinking Canelo wins. But if he does, he will be my #1 fighter of all time.
Wow, I always knew that you had a lot of respect to him.
Virgil Ortiz Jr., a rising star in boxing, didn't hesitate when asked for his prediction. Ortiz believes Canelo wins the fight clearly. He argued that putting on weight and actually belonging in a heavier division are two very different things. Despite Crawford's impressive bulk up to nearly 180 pounds, Ortiz doubts it will be enough to truly match the natural size and power of Canelo Alvarez.
He has a bigger chance of doing it than Crawford does.
Favors him.
Now, Canelo, he has obviously the size advantage, the strength advantage, intellect. I think Crawford edges him out in IQ. I just think the weight difference is going to be the deciding factor here. I mean, like, when I seen Canelo's check hook against Berlanga, that shit was like this. You know, and Canelo's not slow either. Like, this shit was, I didn't see that coming at all. He just dropped him, and I was just like, damn, he still got it. I just think that Crawford just bit off a little more than he can chew, but if he can chew it and he beats him, which I think he can. I'm not saying he can't. I'm not saying he has 0% chance. I'm just thinking Canelo wins. But if he does, he will be my #1 fighter of all time.
Wow, I always knew that you had a lot of respect and admiration.
Ortiz further emphasized that if Crawford gets hit clean by Canelo, the fight could end badly. He called it a clear win for Canelo based on size and strength alone. However, Ortiz also admitted that if Crawford somehow pulls off the upset, it would immediately elevate him into GOAT status, placing him among the greatest to ever lace up gloves.